Hey there, everyone. I hope you're all doing good. As I've seen a few people asking for it, and I was about to do it anyway, I will show you how to use the play from Polyend to control CV gear, such as Eurorack, Synthesizer, or CV-compatible desktop synth. Devices, the cheap and super efficient one, the CV.OCD, and the a bit more expensive one, but that does much more things, from Polyend as well, the Poly 2. Let's get going. I have so far a lot of cat hair on the gear, as usual, and I have prepared a little beat. It's a bit loopy, but it's just there so we can work on the synth. So let's go to the Midi page. So if you go to sample, instead of sample, you have your Midi channel. Let's go to the keyboard mode. I see I have activities over there, which means they are well connected. Midi out from the play to the Midi in of the CV.OCD. The way the CV.OCD works, I left it in the default setting, which means we have Midi channel 1 outputting there and Midi channel 2 outputting there. What we need to trigger a modular synthesizer is one signal, which the first one here is the one called 1 volt per octave. Let's do some cable management. So let's send it to this oscillator. I will listen straight away to that oscillator. I've put some spring reverb from the mixer. Magic, it works. In order to make this less horrible to listen, let's choose a scale. Locrian. I love it. So. I can play like this. So it works. So now let's make the audio path. We will keep it simple. We want one wave to a filter. This filter out to VCA. And this VCA will go to our output. So through the VCA, you can hear our signal. Midi channel number 1, I can start to put on steps. And on each of those steps, I can choose a note. Okay, simple. But our sound is playing all the time, which is boring. So we need a gate output to trigger an envelope that will then open our VCA for us. So I will take the gate output. And send the envelope out to our VCA. Put the level at 0 and choose the amount of control I want to add. Here, as I have an ADSR envelope, I can choose to have, using the sample, which one is it? Yeah. Using volume and panning, we have note length. We can make short notes. And long notes. Now, I could want an envelope to control the filter as well. So let's send that envelope to FM2. Here I have my filter envelope that I can invert directly from here. Always fun. One of the other things that this guy does is by default the second CV out of each channel is the velocity. So I will patch that velocity to the level control of my filter envelope, which means now, using velocity, I can decide to change how much each nodes will receive. Well, how much the envelope will open the filter for us. As we are in this lovely plaything, we could copy this, make a longer sequence, select all, randomize velocity, and change some of the notes over here. I'm not sure it's properly in the scale though. But it's weird, but I like it anyway. Let's randomize the velocity more over here. I don't like that. Okay, let's make another pattern and make a simpler melody with this. One thing I love to do with Play, I showed it in another video, but I will show it again, is to have a few different sequences with different notes from the same MIDI channel, which are not going at the same speed. And even funnier, select this track, make it 5. As those are all the same MIDI channel, they cancel each other out when they try to play things. So, as they're all playing the same sound as well, you can come and have lots of action on what they are doing. You can also change the way they play. Have like this one going reverse. This one doing weird things, which gives you like very generative type of music thing. We could now decide for a change to play a second channel. So I will patch a second channel. So channel 2 to 1 volt per octave of the second oscillator. Triangle wave to wave folder. Wave folder out to VCA 2. Trigger out this time to trigger one channel of the Quadra. And this channel of the Quadra going to control the folding and the VCA. Any weird noise you hear comes from the µFold. I think it's starting to die, poor thing. So let's play the same note on each channel. And tune those two oscillators. Now let's try to make a new sequence out of this. With this one I haven't used the velocity. So I can use the velocity here for, let's say, the symmetry here. Because voltage is voltage, so it's not because it's labeled velocity that it has to be velocity. Yeah, it's a bit starting to be a bit cramped. Let's make some audio. One other thing, this guy is sending out the MIDI clock. So let's just mute those guys. Go back to our first pattern. You could use those different time divisions. There's 3 of them by default. To either clock sequences or just anything you would like to trigger. It doesn't seem to work. Am I sending clock out? Yes. No, you can see it works. So you have different speed. Let's go for the fastest. And to clock that sample and hold circuit. And let's use it to modulate or filter furthermore. Like those classic Rolandy weird bubbly thing. Let's go through the slew to avoid the clicking. And let's hear it with different time divisions. This is twice slower. Again, twice slower. With this guy, you could also sequence gate and triggers from channel 10. So instead of using those triggers for drums, like it will be the classic, I will show you a few funky ways to use those to trigger events in a simple sequence. So I've made a new pattern. Just some Lin drum samples and displaying. So now let's get out of this. Let's choose channel 10. I will use this first note to trigger. I don't use this one as it's broken. Old modules. C4. C4 is the one triggering that envelope. So now I will really just experiment. This one will give us a filter accent. With another note. If I manage to find it. The problem is probably the scale quantization that removed the notes I need. So anyway, it will work. Let's make this one shorter so they don't trigger at the same time. And this will come as well to the filter. You can see how it can quickly become interesting. Also, we don't use channel 2 here, which means we can use its two CV outs to control stuff. Let's say I want velocity here, which will be the classic, as I've shown before. Happened that we have a velocity input over there, so let's use it. Let's just randomize. Okay. This is already a bit more dynamic, which is cool. Here, I'm using a pulse wave. I will use channel 2 CV out, which is the note out, to control the PWM over there. So now, if I go to channel 2 here, the notes I input are going to be pulse width values. Because the voltage is voltage once again. And the velocity of this channel could be used. Let's use this guy as a vibrato. And I will use velocity from this channel to choose the speed of this vibrato. So once again, here we have our sort of FM weirdness. If we add more depth to this, it will become weird FM thing. Send this to the filter instead. And it can quickly get out of hand. Okay, now let's unpatch those guys. And I will do the same thing with the play. You could go directly with the TRS jack, but I don't know where mine is right now. I don't want to search for it. So let's use some of those adapters that actually Polyend gives you. Well, that's classic, it's transposed because those two doesn't have the same settings. But we can anyway change stuff. So I think I can offset, octave offset, -2 octaves. Okay, that's more like it. The cool thing with play is that it has lots. Well, you can do 3 voices, 4 voices, even 8 voices, depending on how you do it. So right now I could control this guy as well. But let's go for it as it's here. It's also there's not yet a not random as yes there is. It's random all the notes, almost all the time. So we have proper generative mayhem. Before going out of here, we need to mix all the signals. So let's get out of this little mixer. If you wonder, the pew 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 is one of the audio things from Play. Okay, so now I have the mix of those two VCAs. Let's get here from the no coast. So let's see if we can have some sounds with channel 3. We can. Of course, they're not tuned, so let's tune them again. So those two are okay. It's this guy that I need to tune. So first I patch and offset to the output. Let's go one. Well, as I have everything out from one mono, I mean, it's a mess. But that we have this one. Let's focus on this one. We can now send lots of different CC messages from here. So let's check custom CCs. CC number 3 is velocity. CC number 7 is CC number 1. So let's tell this guy that cutoff CV is CC1. No live rec. And now we'll take this, which corresponds to channel 3 CC1, and patch it to the multiply. So now if I come to wasn't selected properly. So yeah, I could live rec stuff. Or say filter CC randomize. Save if I like it. If you have like a 4-voice well-tuned system, you can make 4 voice out of this, even 8 by sacrificing some of the CVs here. I've just barely scratched the surface of how many modulation you can send with this. But yeah, so those are my 2 recommended options. The CV.OCD is cheap and works perfectly. It's very configurable, but even the basic config that it's shipped with is awesome. And this one can be like crazy configurable. And like, for example, right now, also I have it on channel mode, which is the mode that I use most of the time, which means that MIDI channel sends one different lane, but we could basically use the next mode with 3 voices, because this is what we have patched right now. And now I could just like make a sequence, and it will play every time a new one. So if you start to introduce some chances, let's make them all short. So here it's just the same notes, but as you can deal with each of those separately, sorry. Now you can have fun with the select some of them. Those I'm going to have random notes. This one as well. I don't know why this one, but I like that. Anyway, easy poly generative things. Okay, one last thing I wanted to show you is one of the similarities between the play and the tracker, which is that you can basically recall any sound or MIDI channel on one lane, which means like here we are on channel 1. I will write something. So now, what I could do is, instead of changing notes and stuff, I could change MIDI channel, so I will have a different sound playing. So channel 1 is this guy, there's no filter. Channel 2 is this guy, no filter. Channel 3 is the no coast. Can offer some very creative things. Let's change for some more inharmonic waves. Let's actually use the 4th voices. And I'm going to use this one just for triggering. So here, channel 4. I can see that it works. If it's not triggering all the time, it's usually because of the note length. Okay, now you can see it's okay. Now we'll use this one to FM this. We'll see if it does something. Not much. Let's go for this one instead. Cool. And we can use, even if this is a channel 4, doesn't mean that we can't modulate that thing that's controlled by channel 4 from another channel. So let's use the velocity of channel 1, which is the one we have used most of the time, to come here and control the decay here. So let's choose velocity. Channel 1, velocity, minimum. So we are back at what we had before. And now randomize velocity. Maybe we can do it with channel 4 actually. Might be better because it's playing all the time. I guess it's sending velocity only when it's playing on the other ones. One thing I like to do with this kind of thing as well is to cross-mod things. So I'm using this Dixie to do some FM on the no coast. Well, anyway, just having fun. I mean, it's really something you can do. There's lots of open-ended possibilities that the modular synth is giving you. So yeah, make the most out of it. Yeah, once again, cheap, awesome, more expensive, more awesome, but you choose. Also, this one doesn't take rack space, which can be a good thing. Well, thanks a lot, Polyend, for giving me the opportunity to work with the Play. Thanks for watching. Have fun, experiment, happy patching. Leave any comments if you have more questions. It's always cool if you like, subscribe, or whatever. And visit Patreon. All the sounds here were from my Patreon banks, by the way. And some from the Play that I made for it. Okay, ciao, ciao, everyone. Bye. Little bonus and tips. A lot of things can be used as MIDI to CV converters that are not dedicated ones, like those. For example, the Sox box, if you send MIDI to it, it will send out CV and gate. Cheapest option that you might already have is the Arturia Keystep or their big brothers. I'm not sure the BeatStep or BeatStep Pro can do it, but probably they can. And because you can choose in the option to let it pass MIDI through, so you can send MIDI in and get CV out. So check your gear that you already have. You might have some stuff that will work if you want to sequence just one channel, for example. Bye-bye.